Is Tom Aspinall the real deal in the UFC heavyweight division? Why is he the biggest threat to Jon Jones in the heavyweight division?
Hello, John. I have nothing against you personally, but I just think I'm better than you. I just know that I can beat you in a fight.
I'm a duck. Call me a duck. Call me a chicken. Call me a goat.
This lad from Manchester has quickly become one of the most exciting fighters to watch in the UFC. Since his debut, Aspinall has been a wrecking ball in the octagon with a 100% finish rate in his UFC career. The heavyweight division is undoubtedly seen as the glamour division in combat sports, since it bangs out the unpredictability and thrill for the fans. With the lack of marquee fights in the division, Aspinall is supposedly next for Jon Jones, unless the champ continues ducking him.
I mean, you can't even say anything anymore.
With the fan support rising for Tom, Jones will have to reconsider his stance.
It's the guy with the other belt in this weight class who's been defending it in the absence of the champ.
This begs the question, why is Jones ducking Aspinall? Could he be the one to dethrone Jon Jones, the reigning heavyweight champ? Jones has seen it all, but has he faced someone as fast, as technical, and as hungry as Aspinall? MMA fans, join us as we try to deduce why Tom Aspinall is the real deal when it comes to the UFC's heavyweight division. When you think of exciting heavyweight fighters, names like Francis Ngannou, Stipe Miocic, and Derek Lewis probably come to mind. But since the pandemic, we've seen a shift in this, with one fighter now leading the pack. I know you've heard of him, that's Tom Aspinall. Now, if you live under a rock, you might ask why. It's simple, he's got it all. First off, his striking is on point. He's not just swinging wild haymakers like most heavyweights. The lad from Manchester has got a polished, technical boxing style that seems almost flawless for a man his size. He resembles a middleweight in the cage, setting up combinations with his fast moves and countering with devastating precision. And to top it all, we see the heavyweight punching power. But wait, there's more. The kryptonite of heavyweight division has always been grappling, and our protagonist has a BJJ black belt and a great wrestling pedigree. So you've got a recipe for disaster for anyone in the division, and every time he steps in the cage, you know something's gonna happen really quick, and so far, that's been the case in every fight. Now, Tom's not just a fighter who's here for a good time. Sorry, Mr. Chandler. He's here on a mission to dominate. Since his UFC debut in 2020, he's been dismantling opponents, and what makes him the real deal isn't just his record, it's the way he's been getting it done. Let's talk some facts here. Tom has only seen round 2 in one fight, that was against UFC vet Andrei Arlovski. He has a total fight time of 18 minutes 6 seconds in the octagon, in which he has 8 finishes. Now consider this, Jones took 14 minutes 29 seconds just to finish an old out of prime Stipe Miocic. Stats are just stats, but every fight has its own story. But statistics forecast a pattern, don't they? Aspinall won the interim belt last year, and in the absence of the champ, he defended it against Curtis Blaydes. Razor was the only man who took a W against him, but don't forget, it was a doctor's stoppage. And since the past 2 years, he's had his eyes set on one thing and one thing only, the UFC Heavyweight Championship. His performances have made it clear multiple times that he's not just here for the ride, he's here to take over.
Yeah, I'm the best finisher in the UFC, man. If I smell blood, that's it, you're done.
And honestly, who can blame him? The heavyweight division is one of the most prestigious in the sport, but now the division was lacking a true challenger. With Dana forcing Francis out of the UFC, and Jon Jones becoming the king, the division was stuck in the mud, as they say. There was no marquee matchup, which was the reason we had to endure the Jon Jones-Stipe Miocic facade for almost 2 years. We all know how much Dana loves Jon Jones, and he made this legacy fight for Bones, who continuously flirted with anyone and everyone not named Tom Aspinall. So that begs the question, is Tom the biggest challenger for Jon Jones right now? Jon Jones, arguably the MMA GOAT, dominated light heavyweight for over a decade and now owns the heavyweight strap. Many have wondered who can possibly challenge Jon Jones in the heavyweight division, and let's be real, there's no one more poised to take on Jon Jones than Tom Aspinall. Why? Tom seemingly has done everything in the UFC that has to be done apart from challenging for the heavyweight crown. Tom even defended the interim belt while Jon was injured away. Ideally, Jon should have been stripped, having been inactive and injured for that long time, but let it be, he ain't your Yuri Prohaska or Jamal Hill. there are some perks that come with the name Jon Bones Jones. Jon has an unmatched CV filled with a who's who of the sport. He did it all. But that was in light heavyweight. Ever since he flirted with the idea of moving to heavyweight, everybody was looking for a marquee matchup. What would happen if he fought Daniel Cormier at heavyweight or Ngannou? But you know what happened next? We saw him fight against Bon Gamin Cyril Gane, who got mauled and submitted in 2 minutes of round 1. Simultaneously, Tom was rising in the division and established himself as a legit contender. So much so that he's now seen as the biggest threat to the heavyweight throne, unless Francis Ngannou comes back to claim the title that he lost to Dana White. So now we have come to the point where we wonder if Jon Jones is ducking him. Okay, here's where things get interesting. Now, I'm not saying Jon Jones is scared of Tom Aspinall, but let's just say he's been a little hesitant to make the fight happen. Jon has gone on record saying Tom hasn't really proven anything yet, and that he'd rather fight someone with legend status. Well, what more can you do than winning the interim belt and then defending it? Jon Jones probably and understandably doesn't want his legacy to be tarnished by a tough matchup. He's doing what Floyd did over in the boxing world for years and protecting his undefeated record. Some fans are starting to wonder if that's a bit of a cop-out. Is he actively avoiding a guy who has the potential to dethrone him? The longer Jon waits, the harder this perception builds up. Some fans are questioning, like this post on X from Dovey saying, is this the biggest ducking in UFC history? Veteran MMA reporter Luke Thomas labeled the situation as textbook ducking by the champ.
Ducking into an art form. I mean, it's you can't even say anything anymore. It's just textbook ducking. There's Jon Jones holds the belt. Tom Aspinall holds the interim belt. There's no fucking debate. It's not up for debate. It's the guy with the other belt in this weight class who's been defending it in the absence of the champ.
The Briton brings a unique skill set that Jones has yet to encounter in the heavyweight division. Sure, Jones faced off against strikers like Thiago Santos or wrestlers like Daniel Cormier, but Aspinall is a new breed who combines both well enough to take a W. Jon might have the edge with his experience and fight IQ, but Tom has the potential to take him out in a way we haven't seen before. It's not just that Aspinall's undefeated in the UFC, it's that every fight he's had, he's finished his opponent. That's a statement in itself. So, can we see this blockbuster fight? If Tom Aspinall versus Jon Jones isn't the biggest heavyweight fight in the division, I don't know what is. This could be the next super fight everyone's yearning for. It's got all the ingredients to be a massive blockbuster. Two of the best heavyweight fighters in the game, the stakes couldn't be higher, and both fighters are still in their primes. One side, we have the MMA GOAT and Tom Aspinall having real hype behind him. This is the fight that could shake the entire MMA world. A guy like Aspinall going toe-to-toe with Jon Jones for the belt, I mean, what more could we ask for? Whatever happens in the future, one thing we know for sure, Tom Aspinall is a fighter you need to watch. He isn't just a hype train assembled by the UFC PR machine, rather he's a fighter who is the complete package, and one who potentially could be the biggest threat to Jon Jones. Will we see a new heavyweight champ in 2025? Could Aspinall dethrone Bones and carve out his own legacy? Time will tell. So that's all we have for you today. As always, let me know what you think. Does Aspinall have what it takes to take down Jon Jones? Or is the GOAT just too much for him? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Before you go, on the left, you'll see a video where we talk about what happened to Nick Diaz and why he stopped fighting in the UFC. Do watch it, and we'll see ya for the next video.